Play is one of the most serious things that people do in their life. And school often likes to crush it. So we've got to keep our battle going. We've got to keep our pressure on the schools and the boards of education and the state commissions and commissioners to make sure that things that happen in school include a great deal of play and a great deal of passion, because that's what everybody's life is going to be about. I want to get this conversation going about what she said, what your projects mean to you, and also address some of your questions about your projects and what they might mean in the future to some of the folks up here. Okay? Are we good with that? Can I see one hand from Woodlands? Who's willing to do that? All right, excellent, good, and more than that. One hand from Somers. Can I see a hand from Somers? Somers, yes, excellent. Can I see a hand from Nyack? Nyack, where are you? I got multiple hands. Okay, very good. Okay, we're over here. I snuck you in there. Okay, good. How about the kid with the mohawk? Come on, come on. Are those mics working up there? Okay, step up to the mic. Tell us what your project is, and if you don't throw a question out, then we'll have people comment on your project anyway. Go ahead.
Well, I'm Kevin Nugent from NIAC. Nice to see all of you. And my project's going to be skydiving. And yeah, because I'm going to go into the Army when I go to college, the ROTC. So I want to do I want to be a paratrooper when I get older. So I thought it'd be a good idea to try and go skydiving.
Okay, who would you like to address that question to?
You sir, right there. Handsome fellow.
Harry. Oh my God, what do you think about skydiving, and how would you sell that to the Board of Regents?
Skydiving is a great attraction for a lot of people. I think George H.W. Bush, not one of my favorites, but did, I think, on his 90th birthday, did skydive.
I'm Christine. I'm a student coordinator at Rondout. My project is about WISE. It's a presentation about WISE, and then I'm also learning sign language with a Charlotte over there. She's teaching me. My question would be, why is WISE important in school?
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious. I will address that question to both Eric and Andrew. How's that? Okay, why is WISE important to school and in school? Right? Okay, Eric?
Oh, it's terribly important. For those of you who are teachers in a school that does not have it, welcome to Senior Slum. That is when Senior Slum exists. I think what it does is it poisons the atmosphere for the rest of the students in the school. Because once you get into the habit of fooling around with your education, which is very precious, you can't get those points back. And I've been to meetings where teachers have said, but this is unfair because the kids, if we only had them a little bit longer, they'd do much better. After 12 and a half years, a kid in school is still doing D work. I probably don't guess in the last 3 or 4 months that they would be able to do appreciably better. I've had the pleasure of going to all these with Vic for the last umpteen years. And Scarsdale, where I taught, was the second school to do this. It's done differently there than elsewhere. Every kid has to do it for a shorter period of time, but it is also, even in that short period of time, changed some kids' lives. Vic, in introducing me, didn't mention the number of people who I've had the pleasure of mentoring and how much I've learned from my students.
Andrew Courtney, you're going to have to negotiate. Now use your teacher voice.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Okay.
I come from a fine arts teaching background, which has non-rules all over the place. The fact that the WISE program, what I recommend, and for myself as well, is that we all get the videotape that I think Dave Green is making back there of Deborah Meyer's talk today. Because I think it's worthwhile when people talk in school auditoriums, sometimes, for some of us, it can sound like a talk in a school auditorium. And it can get dismissed in our own heads that way because we're inside the bigger box with the smaller boxes inside the bigger box. The WISE program is a non-aggressive, polite way of perforating all those boxes, putting holes in them without really being aggressive and nasty about it. And Deborah Meyer's entire talk with all of us today reminds all of us, you kids and us kids and older people, young people, on how to not break the rules because it's fun and aggressive to do that, but to look at what's in front of us and find alternatives, a way to ask new questions, to make new discoveries. I'd suggest that, what's your name with parachuting? What's your first name? Kevin? Kevin, I suggest that part of your project, you look into also a thing called parkour. If you met with me and you said, well, I'm jumping out of planes, I'm going to pack my own pack, I'm going to pack my own belly pack and all that stuff, which I used to do also, by the way, I would ask you to also look into other alternatives that are similar and look into parkour, P-A-R-K-O-U-R. What I've just done with him is the kind of thing that we all have to do, which is what the WISE program is all about. Ask good questions, snoop around, probe around, don't break rules just because it's fun to break things, but to look at where we can poke holes in all those boxes. That's it.
Hi, my name is Hannah Vestergaard. I graduated last year, and my WISE project was a documentary on selective mutism, which is an anxiety disorder. Hi, my name is Charlotte Knapp. I graduated here from Rondout in the WISE program last year. My project was titled Helping Others Through Self-Sacrifice, and I organized a bunch of different donation drives and a blood drive that were all very successful. And I gave seminars to freshmen last year on how they could volunteer more in our community. WISE should be spread everywhere. I think it should be in college curriculum, high school, everywhere I think WISE should be. And for influencing other WISE students, I'm actually helping Christine Kelly over there. I am working on getting a degree in sign language interpretation, so I'm teaching her all I know in sign language for her project. And I'm on the task force as a community member, so I still come back here, probably on a weekly basis. People still think I'm in high school, I think.
My name is Larissa. I graduated from Rondout in 2007, and my project was to put together a benefit concert where all the proceeds were donated to a school's music program in New Orleans that had been affected by Hurricane Katrina.
When, in 2007, when you were a senior here, how did that affect, change in any way your experience in the college?
Goodness. I think that by participating in WISE, I had much better, more developed time management skills when I went to college because, like we heard earlier, or like you said actually, we're sort of trained in boxes up until we leave high school. And by experiencing a type of education that wasn't in a box, I could explore other options when I went to Ithaca College. Not to mention the benefit concert aspect of my project really influenced what I wound up majoring in. I had been very involved in music in high school, and that's why I chose my project. And it turns out that it wasn't so much music that I was passionate about, but helping others. And so now I'm involved in social work. So I think that my WISE project had a huge impact on my higher education experience.
My name is Leslie Gutkin, and I did my WISE project in '07 about body modification culture. So I just did a research project.
Any baseball fans? My name is Ed Pomerantz, class of 2010 graduate. What I did for my project was I took you behind the mask of an umpire.
Foul ball.
My name is Talia Baker. I graduated in '08 from Rondout, and my project was kind of a combined project with one of my really good friends. I wanted to bring musicals back to this high school. My mom and a bunch of people who I grew up with participated in musicals here, and they kind of went out due to budget cuts and things like that. So my friend Paul, he did all the lighting and sound and set work
for Guys and Dolls, and I did the directing and the producing and some of the musical work. So we worked together to put on a bunch of the selected scenes from Guys and Dolls.
As you know, I'm Franny Hertz. I'm one of the coordinators here at Rondout, and this is my new WISE project. And I tell my students all the time, people are going to have a lot of opinions about your project, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what's going to happen, how it's going to turn out. And I try to help them understand that they need to filter the information, use what's helpful, politely ignore what's discouraging. And thus far, since I've been here this morning, this is my first day with this whole rap thing going on, I must have had 100 people tell me what's going to happen, what I should do, what I shouldn't do, what the future's going to look like, and I've done exactly what I told you guys to do. I followed what I said. I have not been a hypocrite, and I've been trying to stay positive. The WISE project in 1978 was working at Pleasantville Cottage School with severely emotionally disturbed kids. It was a residential school. The kids slept there, and I spent as much time there as I could with the other responsibilities I had in high school. And so I really tried to model kind of the Rondout program on what I got to do because it was really meaningful to me. I have a WISE graduate child, and I have a current WISE student who's a senior this year. So I'm really excited that they have the opportunity to know all of these guys who are my kids too. So that's what I did.
Well, the oldest gets to go last here. I'm a 1975 graduate from Woodlands High School. Franny was actually in school with me. We competed on the same tennis team together. I was on the tennis team and was very interested in tennis. That was pretty much my whole life, especially by spring semester of the senior year, where I didn't have any classes to take. So I got into the WISE program, and I ended up designing a JV tennis team. We didn't have one at the school at the time, so I asked my coach if I could do that. She said, sure. So I started a junior varsity team, and I said, but she said, you know what, you need to do a little more than just that. So I started tennis clinics for younger children. At that time, kind of like what Debbie Meyer was saying today, I didn't really think I liked children that much. I had brothers that used to bug me all the time, so that was enough. But I ended up really liking those little kids. And a few years ago, I retired after 30 years of teaching little children. So it definitely designed my life for me. And it was a great experience, and I am so empowered to be back here looking at these young adults doing these unbelievable projects. I don't think I've gone to a presentation yet where I didn't walk out in tears. It is just an emotional, beautiful experience.